Hey guys, what is going on? My name, of course, is Panther. Thank you so much for stopping by at the channel here today. And I have got a very interesting video here for you. It could be the start of a new series. I know I kind of start new series and then just forget about them after an episode or two. But this one I know I could definitely keep on going for a while. And it's basically just stupid people that I've had to deal with doing customer service. So I have been doing customer service jobs ever since I graduated high school. So about 3 years, I think. Oh man, I don't even remember when I graduated high school. I think it was 3 years ago. I've been doing 3 years of customer service. I've had 2 different jobs. I've had a manager of a cell phone store, and then now I work for a large ISP, basically doing the back office kind of financial research things on accounts. I'm not going to name which ISP. This ISP is kind of hated by everyone in the world and has a very bad rep. You should know who I'm talking about, but I don't want to say, just so I don't lose my job in case anyone somehow sees this. But anyways, that is the story that I'm going to be telling today. Basically, it's from the ISP job that I am still currently working at. So again, I basically do some of the back office financial reportings for customer accounts. One of the things that we also handle is we deal with the collection agencies that we have collecting on the bad debt. So let's say a customer has an account and they disconnect the account and it has a $300 balance left that's remaining, and they don't pay that balance after about 30 days. After about 30 days of not paying that final balance, once the disconnect happens, we send them to a collection agency, and the collection agency, of course, tries to collect on them for 7 years until it reaches the statute of limitations, or unless it's paid or settled, whatever. A large portion of our day goes with communicating with the collection agencies for people who are disputing the balance, dealing with settlements, dealing if a customer had paid the balance. A large portion of our day is dedicated to that. We also take calls for the collection agencies if a customer is disputing the balance, and that is where our video starts. So there I am, just sitting at my desk, putting in all the information that I need to, making spreadsheets, all that fun stuff, and my phone starts to ring. So I take the call, and it's this guy. I'm just gonna name this guy Jeff. That wasn't his actual name, but we're just gonna call him Jeff for the time being. So Jeff calls in, and basically he is saying that he is disputing the balance on his account and he shouldn't be in collections because he has a balance on the account for an early termination fee, and that's it. He says that he has started up a new account with us, so that early termination fee should have been waived off. So I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, this should be an easy fix. Can you go ahead and give me the address of the account? And so he gives me the address, and I just can't pull it up. I'm like, okay, do you have an account number by chance? And he's like, no, I don't have an account number. I can give you the account number for the old account. And I was like, sure, I'll need to pull that one up anyway. So he gives me that account number. This is for the account that's in collections. It had like a $200 something balance for the early termination fee, and that was pretty much it. He had paid for the services. It was just the early termination fee that was left. And so I'm like, okay, perfect. I've got this one pulled up. Let's try to work on getting the new one pulled up just so I can confirm, so I can get the early termination fee waived. So he's like, okay, sure. So we're going through for probably about 5 minutes. I'm searching it with his social security number. I'm searching it with the phone numbers. Any phone number that he has had previously, we're searching it through to see if we can pull it up with that information. He doesn't have an account number, so I can't pull it up with that. Again, I'm searching for the address. I'm trying as hard as I can to find this dude's account. So finally, it's been about 5 minutes, and I just can't pull up this guy's account. And I have done so much research and so many different ways of searching that I just cannot find his account. It's impossible. I'm just like, hey man, I can't find the account. Can you maybe, go and look and see if you have a bill so I can find the account number? And he's like, okay, sure. So I don't know why this guy didn't do this the entire time I'm trying to find his account, but he's like, yeah, I can go see if I have a bill that has the account number on it. So he goes, he's sitting there. I can hear some paper rustling in the background because he put it on speaker, and he's like, I know I have something somewhere. And I'm like, okay, sure, guy, whatever. Finally, he comes back and he gives me an account number, and the account number is not even close to what the account numbers that we have look like. We have very long account numbers, and they start with a specific numerical process. That numerical process did not happen, and it also was not the length that it needed to be for it to be our account number. So I'm like, okay, this is an invalid account number. Is there anywhere else that has maybe a longer number on there? And he's like, no, it says the account number right here on the bill. And I was like, okay, and this is for blank company, the company I work for. I just outright asked him, I'm like, are you sure that you are still with my company? And he's like, well, no, I'm actually with company B. And I had to sit there for about 10 seconds. I didn't say anything. I just had to sit there for 10 seconds thinking about the stupidity. We are now about 8 minutes into the phone call, which is 8 minutes I could have spent doing more work for this other account that I really, really needed to get work on. Oh my gosh, I was furious. I was like, okay, sir, no, that's not us. Basically, they start with the same letter. They start with actually the same two letters, actually. They start with the same two letters. So I guess I can kind of see if you're not paying any attention at all, and if you have about 2 brain cells, I can see how maybe you would think they're the same company, but no, not even close. So I'm like, sir, yeah, no, unfortunately that is not us. We have nothing to do with that company. That's actually a competitor company. So at this point, there's not really anything I can do for you. And he's like, but I thought that this was the same company, so I thought I was staying with you guys. Bitch, just because you thought you stayed with the same company doesn't mean you did, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna waive your early termination fee. That's a valid charge at this point. So I'm like, okay, an idea that I do have is let's see if that area is serviceable with our services. I'm like, okay, here's what we could do. Because you don't want to pay the early termination fee, if you stop service with company B that you're with right now and swap over to my company, company A, and we can get that account set up, then yeah, I'll waive the early termination fee and we can take your account out of collections. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure, we can do that. That's no problem. So I'm like, okay, just give me a second just to confirm that we service that area. I type in his address on our service map. We don't service it. Let's just run through this guy's stupidity here real quick. 1, he canceled the contract with us and moved to a new location. That assessed an early termination fee on his prior account. He starts up services with a completely different company, thinking that it is the same company for the one that I work for that his previous account was at. He thinks just because he thought he was signing up for the same company makes me want to waive the early termination fee. No, it doesn't. Actually, it makes me want to add a $10 fuck you fee for wasting my time here. That's not an actual thing. We don't actually do that. Once an account is in collections, we don't change the balance unless it's absolutely necessary. This is not a necessary moment. He didn't even check a service map to see if we do service that area, because if he did check a service map to see if we service that area, he would see that we in fact cannot put our services in his location that he now is currently living in. So basically, I let him know there's nothing that I can do about this balance. It's a valid fee for the early termination fee because you ended the contract early and you do not have our services, and there is no physical way that he can get our services, so it is a valid debt. We do not remove the early termination fee if you move to a new location that we do not service because you signed a contract basically stating that you would be with us. Some circumstances we will remove that, like let's say a military move or something like that, and we can't service that location, then yes, of course we will waive that because that's basically something that is avoidable. But just like a standard move that this guy just wanted to do, that's basically what he said. He just told me that this was just a standard move. He just wanted a bigger house. And so I was like, at this point, yeah, no, there's nothing that I can do for you. And he is begging me at this point. He says, man, look, I'm trying to get a new house. And I'm like, you just moved into a new house, but okay, sure. He's like, I'm trying to move into a new house. This account has affected my credit so much, it's dropped me 100 points, which that's a lie. I hear that all the time. There's no way that a $200 cable bill is going to drop your credit by 100 points. If it has, you have some shitty ass credit already, and there's nothing that's going to fix that. If your credit has dropped 100 points because of an outstanding credit bill, your credit just sucks to begin with. I'm sorry, there's no way around that. This would maybe drop a normal person's credit like 20 points. So 1, this guy's either lying, or 2, he just has some really shitty credit and he shouldn't be buying a house anyways. So then he goes into the simple song and dance routine I hear all the time on these dispute calls, and that is, well, I wasn't told about the final balance. Man, you just called and told me that you were disputing the early termination fee, so clearly you're aware of it. So I go, okay, I'm sorry. We did send out a final bill to you. And he's like, well, where'd you send that out to? And I said, well, it looks like we have you set up for the email billing. And I confirmed the email that he is signed up with the email billing with, and that is his preferred email, so he should have gotten it. And just to confirm, I went back into the account history and I saw we did send out actually 2 bills, 1 stating the early termination fee and 2 for like a $10 credit that was applied after for just some random service thing. I couldn't find a note that specified why we gave that $10 credit, but regardless, there were 2 bills basically showing the balance on the account. And so that means he was aware of an early termination fee. So this guy's basically still just saying, well, I still didn't get it. Okay, sure, I understand. Tech problems happen. You can't always 100% rely on technology, but come on, man, we sent 2 bills. At least one of them would have gone through. I know that for a fact. So then this is where all stupidity kicks into high gear. So this male Karen basically tells me, I work for a legal department for XYZ company. And this is for a company that I've never heard of in my entire life, but he's touting it as if it's Amazon. Anyways, he says that he knows how these things work and I can get it pulled off of his credit. And I let him know, well, no, if I can't waive the fee, then this has to stay on your credit. And due to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, I can't remove it from your credit because that would be credit manipulation, which is illegal. And I don't want to lose my job over this guy, so I'm not going to do that. I basically ran over everything with him. I told him the early termination fee is valid. Here is why. I can't waive the balance also because we sent you final bills to your preferred way of receiving bills, which is via email. And then he goes, well, no one called me. You really think that out of the millions of accounts that are opening and closing every single day, that we are going to call every customer that has a balance owed to us after they disconnect an account? No. That's what the bills are for. That's why we send out final bills and statements. I honestly, again, had to stop for 10 seconds just to think about how stupid this guy was being. And I told him just straight up, I was like, no, we have millions of accounts that are getting disconnected every day. We have millions of accounts that are being opened every single day. We cannot call every customer that has a balance owed. So he's still pushing. And by this time, I've been on the phone for half an hour. Half an hour, 30 minutes out of my 8-hour-long day talking to this idiot. So he keeps pushing me, and finally I just ask him outright, I'm like, why are you asking me to do something that is illegal? And I don't know why that question broke him, but it did. This is how that interaction went. Sir, I'm just going to ask you outright, why are you asking me to do something that is illegal? And he responds with, because my job is more important than yours. I don't see why that would make it okay to do something illegal because your job matters more. You're talking to me. You've been on the phone with me for 30 minutes. I am the only one who can help you in this situation. But yeah, sure, your job matters more than mine. That's okay. So finally, he says, well, I'm just gonna take you guys to court over this. And I laugh. Okay, I'm sorry, I laughed. I went to mute my phone as I was laughing. So I got the first chuckle out and then I muted the phone. So I think he could hear a ha, and that was it. So he gets furious. And yes, that's my fault. I tried to contain it, but it was just too stupid of a comment that I had to laugh. So I tried to mute my phone as fast as I could with no luck. So I regained myself, I go off of mute and I said, I'm sorry about that, sir. I will give you the number to our legal department. Once I give you that number, I am instructed to disconnect the phone call. That's basically just what we have to do. I give him the phone number and the guy leaves with a fuck you and hangs up the phone. And yeah, that was an excellent day. I very much enjoyed that phone call, and if you can't tell I'm being sarcastic, that was probably one of the dumbest phone calls I've ever taken, or just one of the dumbest customers I've ever had the displeasure of speaking to. So anyways, thank you guys so much for stopping by and again watching this video. I definitely have so many more of these stories, so if you do want to hear more, click that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Leave a comment down below if you've dealt with any stupid or annoying customers in your day, or just stupid people in general. And yeah, maybe we'll just make this a series, a weekly series or something. I don't know. My upload schedule is terrible. I don't have time to upload anymore, but I do think this would be a fun thing to talk about regularly. So thank you guys again for watching. My name's been Panther, and I'll see you in the next one.